2 months into just fucking not even together. She went off birth control and poked holes in my condoms, and now I have a almost 3-year-old daughter. Luckily, the mother was drop dead gorgeous. Just has mental issues up the ass. She made my life hell. I finally got partial custody about 6 months ago, and am working on getting full custody. I absolutely adore my daughter. She's super smart, speaks Spanish and English. Counts to 20, is clean, pays attention to detail, all at just under 3. But fuck, I wish I never downloaded that app. She drugged herself. I met up with her at a bar that was serving $2 tacos and tequila shots. She had 1 shot before I met up with her, then bought me and herself 1 more shot. Minutes later, she starts becoming really incoherent, trying to talk to the bartender but couldn't finish a sentence. I asked her to pay for the drinks she bought so I can get her home. She was so fucked up, she couldn't even pay. This is where the evil glances from the bartender start. I pay for the 3 shots and walk/carry her outside. She sits on the bench 2 feet away from the door and passes out on my shoulder. She is sleeping so hard and I'm so confused. Shitty story short. Everyone thought I drugged her and police are called. She is taken away in an ambulance. I find out the next day that a few days prior, she was prescribed antidepressants, and it was the first time she had consumed alcohol with her new medication. It was really sad. I'll never forget the evil glances from everyone who assumed I drugged this poor girl. We met for dinner at a restaurant, and she wanted to order the most expensive stuff off the menu. We had a seafood appetizer and an expensive assorted appetizer tray, and then steaks were coming up. I did the only gentlemanly thing possible and got up to use the restroom after the appetizers and then left her to pay the bill. Yeah, I didn't get my dick sucked that night, but I hate people who think they can use Tinder as a form of Uber Eats or something. Not Tinder, but I was listed on a more exclusive service. It's curated, everyone goes through a credit check, criminal records check, etc. Referral only. You have to sit for a video chat interview with the staff first and be accepted. Keeps out the hookers, catfish, gold diggers, citizenship seekers, sex offenders, no bots, etc. They screen out everything except identity thieves, lol. Turns out the girls who would qualify for these services sometimes lend their identities to their friends, often in exchange for money, do the interview for them, have a squeaky clean background check, and then someone else entirely shows up on the date. The girl who's listed shows up, but brings a friend for safety, and it's an obvious bait and switch where the girl you're supposed to be meeting is disinterested from the start, and has to leave early, but her friend stays, and the friend is usually a complete dumpster fire. Only happened to me once, and I just played along and excused myself politely when the opportunity presented itself. But I've heard horror stories from other guys. Met a girl to hook up last year, immediately after getting out of the Uber, and meeting her on the sidewalk. She is all over me. I can tell she's a little drunk, but so am I, so it's all good. We make it halfway to her front door, and she dropped to her knees and started trying to suck my dick. Weird, but let's just find a better spot. We end up making it into her apartment, and up to her room, and the deed is done. Afterwards, I order an Uber and tell her I'm about to leave. She starts begging for me to stay. Like begging. I tell her I already ordered an Uber, and it's on its way. So, no can do and thanks for the fun. She grabs the bottle of whiskey that I brought, which is almost a 1/3 of the way gone by now, unscrews the cap and proceeds to take the longest chug I've ever seen. Promptly screws the cap back on and throws the bottle at my head. It hits me in the face, and lands in my lap. I tell her she's fucking insane. Get up and leave. Yeah, I stopped doing Tinder for a little while after that. Not super crazy, just confusing. We were having what felt like a completely normal date. Normal getting to know you questions, a few laughs, etc. Every indication the date was going well. Except every 5 minutes, she'd pull a face like she was absolutely petrified, held the facial expression for a few seconds, then go back to normal like nothing happened. It happened at random times too, just completely out of the blue, rather than reacting to anything said. This happened the whole way through the date, and started to really freak me out, especially as how normal everything seemed. After 2 drinks, she wanted to end the date early, so walked her to the bus stop. Again she was super chatty and a few laughs as if it was a date going well, then gone, never to text each other again. No signals other than the random face anything was wrong, but something was, I guess. This was on Hinge. Matched with this girl I thought was cute. We talked for a few days on the app and then we swapped numbers. I bought this card game that's awesome for getting to know people. We play this game sharing thoughts on sex, marriage, religion, and future goals. Everything is going great, and we seem to be in sync with most things. I decide to finally set up a date. This is where it goes downhill. I suggest for us to go to round 1, which is an arcade with a bowling alley and karaoke room. She agrees and asks me to pick her up. I drive to her place only about 15 minutes from me and she comes out. I go to open her car door and hug her. First words out of her mouth are, "You're short!" I'm 5 feet 9 inches and I list that in all my dating profiles. Also she's 5 feet 3 inches. I'm like, huh, and she repeats it 3 times. I think you lied on your profile. My mind was telling me to cancel the date, but I was horny, and she'd been talking trash about what she was gonna do to me, so I continued with the date. We're driving to the spot and I'm on the highway. I switch lanes and she goes, "You didn't put your blinker on." This happens 3 more times. I put my blinker on now to switch lanes and she keeps saying it 'cause she couldn't hear the blinker when it was on. FML. Again I choose to ignore in my quest for booty. As we're getting closer, we drive past a bowling alley. She goes, "Oh my god, I love bowling." I'm like, cool, do you just want to go there? She says no because she doesn't have her bowling shoes and ball. Okay, so why bring it up? We get to the arcade and it goes okay. We play some games, but then she sees the bowling alley there, and she gets wide-eyed. I ask if she wants to play and she says she doesn't have her ball or shoes. I'm like, you know they have that stuff, and we just rent it. But she is adamant about using her own stuff, no health concerns or sanitation concerns, she just won't use their stuff. We go to eat and conversation dies while we're there. I drive us back and she falls asleep on the ride home. I pull up to her house, open her door and walk her to the door. I'm expecting to be invited in, get a hug or a kiss. I am standing in her doorway and she goes, "You have to move so I can shut the door." I drive home like, WTF was that? She calls me and says she had a great time, and she wanted me bad but was nervous. I roll. It gets worse because again in the quest for booty, I decide to try and set up a second date at, you guessed it, the bowling alley. We never get to this date. Trying to set it up, she tells me she's disappointed that I didn't try to set up the date. She accuses me of accusing her of trying to be more important than my job, son, and gym time. At this point, I'm like, it's not worth it anymore. I tell her I'm not feeling the chemistry and that we can be friends. She then sends me a freaking novel in my texts about how her ex treated her, and how I'm shitty for not allowing a second date. I wish her the best and that she finds someone who is good for her. She tells me I'm not God, I don't know who's best for her, and calls me an immature asshole.
I got nice